2 in this race. As we said, he is already champion. Great start from Ollie Walker, though. He's up into 2nd place.
Eddie O'Shea sitting where he needs to be. Of course, as I said, any point scoring, as long as he finishes this race, he'll move 2nd in the championship standings. The AC40 Pro category basically settled in terms of the top positions, but it's all individual glory in the final race of the season for these riders. Eddie O'Shea coming under some pressure here as Ross Maguire gaps the rider behind him in turn and closes in on the top 2.
Yeah, Ollie Walker looking really threatening there in 2nd place. Is he going to look up the inside at Paddock Bend? Not this time. He gets a good drive out of it, though. They're coming down across the start, ahead of our commentary position. Walker looks on the inside. Eddie O'Shea just holds on.
O'Shea had to work hard to get across the front of Ollie Walker there. Just a 1/10 of a second separating them over the line, and Ross Maguire seems to be gaining on the pair. In fact, he may even have a stab at Ollie Walker here. He goes up to the outside line around McRae's. He's going to try and carry his momentum then off the turn, down the straight and down into Iredale's. O'Shea, Walker and Maguire closely packed together, half a second separating them last time over the line, the first time over the line I should say. Ross Maguire unable to make an impression for now at least, but he's already picked off one rider of course to recover 3rd place.
Yeah, Eddie O'Shea holds on. Ollie Walker was the fastest guy on the opening lap, surprisingly, even though he was only 2nd. Look how close these 3 are. Charging now down towards St John's. Eddie O'Shea holds it up the inside nearly for Ross Maguire. Is he going to try this time into his own corner?
The inside now. He's made the move. Perfect move. But Ollie Walker's got the momentum back down into Paddock Bend. Ross Maguire moving through to 2nd place. It's O'Shea who leads. Maguire is still on the march, having recovered 2 positions. He's now going after top spot. Remember, he was beaten by Eddie O'Shea first time out in race number 1, and he'll be looking for his revenge in race 2.
Beautiful move into the sunny bend there for Ross Maguire. I don't want to exaggerate. It's Valentino Rossi. Yes, sets it up in one, executes in the next. It's just a joy to watch. So nice to see a young kid doing exactly what, you know, the Grand Prix boys are doing. There's a marshal running over the other side of the circuit. What's going on there? Don't know.
Further down the order, 4th and 5th positions closing up. Troy Jeffrey gaining ground on Mason Foster. Aside from the top 2 in the race, he's the only one sub 1 minute lap times at the moment, so it might not be long before 4th and 5th position changes hands, with Troy Jeffrey on the march and closing in on Mason Foster. Foster holds the position for now. The top 2 going at it again. Maguire using his favoured passing place, dives down the inside on the exit of the chicane to make the pass. O'Shea comes back around him, and Maguire clatters into the back of him and goes down, and the race continues among the top 2. Maguire frustrated about that. O'Shea has come back through to take up the race lead. Maguire thankfully straight back up to his feet, but he plummets down the order of course, and outside of the top 10. He's waving his hands in frustration and dropping out of contention for the victory. So the champion will be grateful that he's already been crowned as such, because he is going to lose out majorly in terms of points to Eddie O'Shea here.
What a way to come out of this 2017 season. What a beautiful pass he put on Eddie O'Shea at the top there at turn 7 at Sunny Bend, and he just all went wrong with a slight bit of contact, both of them going for the same 2 inches of tarmac, and unfortunately it's ended up for disaster for Ross Maguire. Like we say though, good job he's champion earlier on today, because that could have been pivotal had it gone down to this race.
Eddie O'Shea leads the way then from 2nd place. Ollie Walker, gap behind him of 3 seconds to Troy Jeffrey, who in amongst all of that chaos managed to work his way past Mason Foster. I did say that move was likely to happen. Jeffrey had been running about a second a lap faster than Mason Foster, and in fact the rest of the pack is closing on Foster now. Owen Mellor directly behind, Ryan Hitchcock, James Cook and Dylan Mellor. They're all in a group here. The real race with top 2 positions looking settled is down the order from 3rd position all the way back down to 7th place.
Yeah, Ollie Walker still pressuring Eddie O'Shea. The gap was half a second across the line last time. They're up into Iredale's now. No change of position, but Ollie Walker definitely looks like he's got some good pace here. He will want to win today. He came so close before lunch. He wants to do it post-lunch.
So further down the order, as I was saying, Troy Jeffrey, Mason Foster, Owen Mellor and Dylan Mellor at the back of that group, making their way back towards us here in our commentary position. But no doubt about the leader, Eddie O'Shea, half a second up on Ollie Walker.
Yeah, Troy Jeffrey looking really good. Mason Foster having a good ride too. Owen Mellor in 5th place. Ryan Hitchcock 6th. James Cook and Dylan Mellor are 7th and 8th. Josh Bannister will be next up in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Jack Kirsch.
The group of 5 riders there working their way through from 3rd position down. Mason Foster has responded since being overtaken by Troy Jeffrey, a new personal best on that previous lap, and consolidates 4th position. So a good ride, as you said. The rider who was on the march on that previous lap, James Cook, Ryan Hitchcock and Owen Mellor running all on the same pace, along with Dylan Mellor as well. So as I said, Mason Foster was the rider on the march last lap around, and makes a seconds gap behind him to Owen Mellor now in 5th position. That midfield battle starting to settle down. The top 4 all running on very similar pace now.
Absolutely. There's Ross Maguire just coming into Sunny Bend. He's not looking like he's going to be able to take that bike as fast as it was. I think he's just cruising around at the back. He's going to get lapped in a moment by Eddie O'Shea and Ollie Walker. That'll be entertaining. Eddie
O'Shea leads the way then ahead of Ollie Walker in 2nd. Walker's had a good lap this time around, lap number 6. We're at the half race distance now, when in fact, if anything, it looked initially as though Walker had closed in. He has indeed. A new personal best for Ollie Walker, shaves the gap back down to less than half a second. Troy Jeffrey still in 3rd, but only 0.3 of a second ahead of Mason Foster. So we got 2 battles in one there. Owen Mellor and Ryan Hitchcock really closely packed together. In fact, they're side by side as they come down to McRae's. Which of the 2 of them is going to get it? It's tough to tell, because they're still more or less side by side as they head down to Iredale's once again. Great fight between Owen Mellor and Ryan Hitchcock, and I think the positions, for now at least, have remained static.
I believe so. Just looking at the lap times last time around, Ollie Walker was a good 2/10 quicker than Eddie O'Shea, but again the gap looks stretched as they're coming down into St John's and then Sunny Bend. They're coming up to lap your champion,
Ross Maguire
yeah,
is the rider who is about to be lapped, although we say that, and if he does manage to pick up the pace to an extent that he's back on the leader's pace, he'll end up holding that gap for the remainder of the race. They are seemingly closing in on him. Maguire, of course, now has basically nothing to race for. He's already champion. He can't win this race. And Eddie O'Shea it is who leads the way, 0.7 of a second with a new personal best. But look further down the timing screen, a new fastest lap of the race for Dylan Mellor in 8th position. He's clawed his way back onto that group again, and now we are back in a situation where it's a 6-rider group from 3rd position down.
Yeah, Dylan Mellor, that's really come out of nowhere, really, that fastest lap. I'm looking too busy at the top 2. But, I don't... Eddie O'Shea just gets through there. Sorry to come across my own self, really, but Eddie O'Shea got ahead of Ross Maguire there, and it just leaves Ollie Walker to negotiate him.
Of course, Ross Maguire's running round at the back of the field. Looks as though he's going to unlap himself. He does. Down the inside where he passed Eddie O'Shea previously. And, well, thankfully they didn't replicate their previous goings-on. But Ross Maguire is actually getting into the leaders' battle now. Eddie O'Shea directly ahead of him. And, of course, Ollie Walker behind. Ollie Walker with a new fastest lap of the race at 59 flat. The gap still around about half a second. But the frustrating thing now is, of course, Ross Maguire being in amongst the 2 leaders may have an impact on this battle. If Ollie Walker can't get swiftly past, of course, there's a buffer at the moment between O'Shea and Walker.
I can hear pencils being sharpened down there for a penalty, I feel. I don't know, but is it fair what Ross Maguire's doing? He's interfering in a...
Well,
he's not. It
doesn't look as though he's intentionally interfering. If he was going to interfere with anyone, you'd think he'd interfere with Eddie O'Shea, not the rider who's trying to pass him.
True, and I think he's going to put a nice little move on the inside at his very own passing place here. He's quick into St John's. Will he be able to line it up?
He's dropped a little bit further back this lap around. It doesn't look as though... but he is about to gain a position, because we've got a retirement through the final section, so that will move him into 14th place. Ross Maguire, who continues on a lap down on the leaders, but at the back of the pack, and here he goes to try and unlap himself again. Really is making a bit of a mischief of himself at the moment. But the race up front, Eddie O'Shea versus Ollie Walker, static at half a second. Mason Foster versus Troy Jeffrey, also static at less than half a second, ahead of Ryan Hitchcock, Owen Mellor and James Cook. So that group of 6 riders still present behind the 2 race leaders.
Of course, it's the last lap as well. This is the last lap. This is the last circulation of this circuit. We're going to see... I think Eddie O'Shea has got a lead here. Ollie Walker is in 2nd. They have both negotiated their way past Ross Maguire. Let's see if Ollie Walker can possibly put a move here. We've got St John's, then Sunny Bend and Paddock Bend to go. There's only a few corners left. Will Ollie Walker look on the inside? He's not close enough here. He'll be looking for a drive out of here. He's close. Don't think he's quite close enough. We're going to go up to Paddock Hill Bend now. I think Eddie O'Shea's going to take it as he keeps it neat. Ollie Walker's closing, but not enough.
Eddie O'Shea makes it 2 wins out of 2 to round off his season in fine style and claims second in the championship behind Ross Maguire, who ended up that race a lap down, of course, following a collision with O'Shea earlier in the race. The rights and wrongs of that, I'm sure, will be debated in the remainder of this afternoon, but it created an entertaining scrap then involving Ollie Walker, who actually was only 0.2 of a second away from Eddie O'Shea at the end of the race. And credit again to Dylan Mellor for setting the pace further down the order. Another new fastest lap of the race on the final lap as he claims 7th position. So it's O'Shea ahead of Walker, then a bit of a gap to Troy Jeffrey, and then leading home that group of 6 riders, Troy Jeffrey, after a pass early in the race on Mason Foster, Ryan Hitchcock, Owen Mellor, Dylan Mellor, all involved in that group along with James Cook, and as you explained earlier in the race, Josh Bannister and Jack Kirsch tailed off from that group on the fringes of the top 10. For the record, Ross Maguire recovering to 13th position after the fall earlier in the race, and he was one of 3 lapped runners.
Absolutely, and just to note there, Dylan Mellor, the only rider to set a 58-second lap, and I don't think I've seen that all day, so credit where credit's due. Dylan Mellor, a hearty and well-earned 7th.
And working his way through from 8th on the grid, of course. He was well and truly involved in that scrap in the mid-pack, of course. As I said, there was a 6-rider group that followed one another around all the way through that race, quite entertaining, principally because after the crash between the top 2, there was no further overtaking within those top 2 positions. That completes the AC40 Pros, race number 2 for them, and their last race of the campaign, of course. And now we move on to the AC40 Rookies, where again, as we said previously, all of the championships now are sewn up. The champion Harrison Crosby will have another run out from pole position. First time out in this category, Crosby took the checkered flag ahead of Harrison Desoy and Luca Hopkins, who finished in 3rd place. Hopkins sits in 2nd in the championship on 347 points, and that more or less settles things as long as he picks up some points here for 2nd place. We got a closer fight though for 3rd now. Jamie Woodcock versus Kyle Payne. Payne finishing ahead of Woodcock in race number 1. So Jamie Woodcock on 316.5 points in 3rd position, and Kyle Payne on 301.5 points in 4th. And as I said, that's likely to be the closest fight now in the context of the championship. 3rd and 4th position behind Harrison Crosby and Luca Hopkins, who, just as I said, needs a few points to seal the runner-up position for 2017.
Absolutely, it's another few dynamics to it, and it's good that all the championships have been decided now, because we can have some proper guns out racing, no conservative stuff at all.
It also means that if we have an incident like we did last time out, it doesn't spoil the championship.
Absolutely.
We certainly saw 2 riders giving it everything last time out, as you said.
Although we like a bit of drama, and things like that aren't always a bad thing, especially when the championship's very wide, it's spread over a load of points. So, you know, introduces an interesting dynamic. It's definitely going to be Sullivan himself.
And Sullivan made the faster start last time around. Harrison Crosby wasn't away as well, so we'll see what he can do from the pole position here. 2nd row of the grid, as I said, Harrison Desoy and Kyle Payne. 3rd row, Luca Hopkins, who we're watching out for in the context of needing to secure the 2nd position in the championship. Then in the context of the series overall, Jamie Woodcock and Kyle Payne. Here we go then for race number 2 in the AC40 Rookies. Loads of creeping from the front row, but again away well, it's Sullivan Mountsie. Again away poorly, it's Harrison Crosby, who's dropped to 4th position initially on the first turn. Tries to force his way back through into 2nd, but runs completely way wide there. Offsey now who leads. Perfect move from Harrison Crosby. He took advantage of the other 2 riders fighting over 2nd and made his way back through into 3rd. He's doing it the hard way, but he is already fighting his way back into a podium position. All
this fighting means Luca Hopkins is going to close in on him, and Hopkins was quicker than Desoy last time around. Harrison Desoy was the only one of the top 5 in the 1-minute 6s.
Sullivan Mountsie leads still by 1.2 seconds. Just watching Harrison Crosby actually under pressure for his position as they came off McRae's from Harrison Desoy trying to recover, and Desoy goes all the way around the outside. Will Crosby get the run then coming off the turn? They're still side by side as they go up towards the far end of the circuit. Good recovery from Harrison Desoy against Harrison Crosby, and it looks as though Desoy may have even made that move successfully. We'll see as they filter back towards our commentary position. Crosby has indeed dropped back down to 4th.
He has indeed, but then nothing's really got away yet. The top 5 are all quite close together. It's only Sullivan Mountsie, the leader, who's got a bit of a gap. Luca Hopkins hovering at the back as well in the 5th. But the middle 3, which consists of Payne, Crosby and Desoy, or Payne, Desoy and Crosby in their order now, are the battle that's raging at the moment. Down to the first turn, no moves possible this time.
And Luca Hopkins is with them as well from 5th position. As you said, Harrison Desoy there on the march, making his way past Harrison Crosby, sets a new fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:05 flat. 0.3 of a second back from Carl Payne, who sits in second. Sullivan Mounsey is your race leader, and then a separate battle further down the order. Ethan Sparks, Jamie Woodcock, Ronald Harris. They're a 3-rider group, as I said, all closely packed together on the circuits.
They are indeed. They head down towards the Stewart S's. Who's it going to be that comes out of here first? Looks like it is it Mounsey still? I believe so. Yeah, he has held it. He looked a bit close to me, but
Sullivan Mounsey holds the lead.
Kyle Payne in second, third for Desoy. Set the fast lap, as you pointed out, a lap ago. Here comes Crosby
down the inside. He's made the move exactly the same place as he did it last time. This time, can he try and pull clear of Harrison Desoy, who's going to send it back down the inside into Paddock Bend, but doesn't dare go through the slippery inside line, the unused portion of the circuit. We've, of course, got a dry line that's developed. When you asked me earlier today whether a dry line was going to develop, well, it has done, certainly in time for this second block of races, and not daring to go off it was Harrison Desoy, but he's making good progress on the straights, is Desoy, and that's what enabled him to repass Harrison Crosby last time around. For the moment, though, Crosby looks settled in 3rd position as the leader starts to slip back slightly to my eyes, and that's Sullivan Mounsey out in front.
Greg Marshall, I don't know if he's got a problem, but he's well off the pace. He's doing 1:51 lap times. He's just cruising down now the back of the straight. He's about 40 seconds a lap adrift, so I don't know what's going on there. He's just rounding very slowly. He's going to be lapped again in a minute. He's 2 laps down already. Sullivan Mounsey leads, though. Kyle Payne will be looking for a way through if he can, and Harrison Crosby's not done yet. Luca Hopkins has just been tailed off the back of this leading 5.
Well, I'm shocked to see Sullivan Mounsey dropping back so dramatically. It looked to all intents and purposes as though the race for top spot was settled. Around the outside comes Harrison Crosby, attempting to gain ground on Kyle Payne. For now, he can find no way through, but the top 3 is separated by 0.8 of a second. New fastest lap of the race from Harrison Crosby from P3, a 1:04.3, and both 2nd and 3rd position runners were faster than Sullivan Mounsey on that last lap around. It's all closing up very tight for the top 3 positions, and here comes Kyle Payne trying to make a move. Sullivan Mounsey holding on for now.
Indeed, the top 4 all in 1:04, and then there's Luca Hopkins 1:05.8, so he's a good second off the top times at the moment. That might explain the gap that has formed there, but the front 4 absolutely at it, especially with Crosby desperate to get through. He wants to win, but Sullivan Mounsey will not want to repeat his mistakes earlier on today. He will want to hold on, and he will want to take the win. Down into St John's, he holds on again. This is where Crosby's so good, though. Sets it up in 1. He's going to have a look on the inside. He has a look, but can't get it done. Crosby holds 3rd. He's offline as well.
Top 3 then breaking slightly clear, but as you said, Harrison Desoy is keeping up pace with the 3 riders ahead of him now. He'd already dropped a second back, though, from Harrison Crosby, so we're starting to get an indication of who might be our podium trio as Kyle Payne flashes across the line to set a new fastest lap of the race. Sullivan Mounsey ahead of him, knows he's under pressure, sets a new personal best by way of response. Payne and Crosby attempting to find a way past Sullivan Mounsey, and for the moment it's impossible to predict which of these 3 riders is going to take the checkered flag. 4 laps remaining.
4 laps to go. Mounsey still leads, but Payne, as you said, it was fractionally quicker. We're talking thousandths of a second quicker than Mounsey last time around, so there's not a lot of difference. It's all very academic at the moment. Down the back straight they go towards the Stewart S's.
Mentioned further down the order, Orlando Phillips has got the better of Ruben Bray, so that's on the fringes of the top 10. Phillips moving through to 9th position, and Bray relegated to P10. But as you said up front, it's extremely close, and Crosby runs in a little bit deeper this time into the chicane, goes all the way around the outside. That gives him the inside line for the exit, and he manages to get the power down early enough to take the position. Payne will try to come back around the outside, but Crosby's got the move done. That was excellent. Crosby sized that up well in advance all the way around the outside of St John's, and then that gave him the inside for the next portion of the chicane, and he used it to good effect to come through for second.
Absolutely, and he's challenging the lead now. He's putting Mounsey under pressure. Will he look on the inside down into McRae's? He has a look.
And with a lapped runner in the mix as well, that really throws things into chaos, but Crosby can't get through for the moment at least. As they come down to Iredale's once again, it's Mounsey still who leads from Crosby in second after he got the better of Kyle Payne last lap around. He was 0.4 of a second quicker than Mounsey, So finding his way onto the tail of the race leader. And, well, if anything, this is a far closer squabble than we saw for top spot in race number 2 compared to race 1.
Here comes Crosby. He's lining up Mounty here. He's been so good into St John's. He'll just carry the speed around the outside, and he's going to look on the inside into Sunnybend. He's going to do that move again, and he has. He's gone through. Does he run wide? No, he doesn't. They almost touch.
Oh, they do touch.
They're on the grass. Crosby holds on to it. Mounty in second, and in third place, Kyle Payne just waiting to pick up pieces left by the leading 2. We have 2 laps to go now as they cross the line.
Crosby then the new race leader by 1/10 of a second ahead of Sullivan Mounsey. That was another great move, but he's worked out exactly where he has the pace advantage. It took him a few laps to work that out, but once he did, he's made successions of passes through there, further down the order for the record. And in terms of the championship fight, important to mention Jamie Woodcock in 8th position compared to Kyle Payne, who's up in 3rd. So this is a good result as things stand for Kyle Payne, and not such a good one for Jamie Woodcock. 8th position would give him 12 points compared to Kyle Payne in 3rd would get 24.
I tell you what, it's back Marker City for the leaders 3. They were proper tangled at McRae's and into Iredale's, so that might have worked into advantage. I think Mountie's got it. Yes, he has. Mountie's got it, but are we going to see Crosby do that same move again? He's pulled it off two laps running. Is he going to look on the inside? He has a look.
Oh, he was smart enough to cover it. And that gives Kyle Payne second place.
Off. And he's been hit, and that's a bad accident. Desoy hit the back of him. They're both up and okay. They're going to try and rejoin.
Crosby straight back up to his feet, thankfully.
Absolutely.
Both riders involved up to their feet, but that critically moves Kyle Payne into a top 2 position, and with Jamie Woodcock down in 8th position, unless Woodcock can improve, this would give Kyle Payne a place on the championship podium. Kyle Payne sitting in 2nd position, and with Jamie Woodcock, as I said, further down the order, unless things change further, Woodcock has got a crucial race here further back. He's got to try and make up positions, because Kyle Payne is exactly where he needs to be to steal 3rd place from Jamie Woodcock in the closing race of the campaign.
What a race we're seeing. That means Luca Hopkins has been promoted to 3rd place as well. We've got half a lap left. It looks like Mounsey and Payne are going to go head to head. Who's it going to be as we come through the back end of the circuit now through Stuart S's? Here they come, the leaders. Mounsey is under attack from Payne. Will he resist? They're going to negotiate their way through. Back markers down into St John's now. Mounsey is leading. Will Payne have a look on the inside? Not this time. Mounsey's very defensive. He's almost
too defensive. He's given up the racing line. Through comes Kyle Payne. Around the outside now into Paddock Bend. Kyle Payne picks it up. Mounsey was defensive there, and Kyle Payne will take the checkered flag. Fall. I couldn't tell you. He hasn't made his way round Paddock Bend yet, but he's dropping out of the top 10. Harrison Crosby, another rider who'll be grateful that he sewed up the championship well and truly in advance, because it's Kyle Payne who takes the checkered flag. Sullivan Mounsey in 2nd, and as I said, with Jamie Woodcock down in 7th position, and that changed situation quite dramatically and gave Luca Hopkins the opportunity. Sorry, gave Kyle Payne rather the opportunity, and Payne did exactly the same thing, but in reverse. Mounsey covered the inside line where he thought the attack was going to come, and it came from the opposite direction.
And that's the problem. If you go defensive, you're going in a bit fast, you cannot get the power down. You've still got to turn the bike. Kyle Payne read that situation so well, carved his way up the inside. He had the right line, the faster line through Paddock Bend, and that's what won him the race on the drag race to the line. Mounsey's got to be furious with that, because he crashed out of race 1 whilst leading, and he's handed a win over to Kyle Payne in the second outing today.
It is go, go, go! This is the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. is Cool Fab Racing. Live coverage all season on the Cool Fab Racing Facebook page and on the website coolfabracing.com.
Returning to the track then for race number 2 in the Mini GP 50 category. Evan Belford lining up on pole position, winner first time out. Alongside him, Bailey Stewart-Campbell, who finished second in race number 1. Second row of the grid, Mason Johnson and Holly Harris, who finished third and fourth respectively. Other riders to watch further down the order, Emmanuel Brinton, who finished fifth first time out, lines up here in 8th. Thomas Gomes, 5th in the championship standings, all the way back in 10th place. He had a chaotic race first time out. And Corey Stainer, who sits 3rd in the championship standings on 342.5 points, mathematically still in contention for 2nd. He dropped out of 2nd in race number 1, if you remember, thanks to Evan Belford's race victory. Stainer under threat to hold on for that third position in the championship, because Bailey Stewart-Campbell, who lines up on the front row, 4 rows ahead of him, now just sits 9 points behind. So Bailey Stewart-Campbell with a real opportunity to get the better of Corey Stainer. We saw 3rd place in the championship change last time out in the AC40 rookies. Will it be the same in the Mini GP 50s? Great start from Corey Stainer, right from the back. From row 5, he's come through into 4th position. Stainer from 9th to 4th off the line. Astonishing start for him.
Everyone away cleanly, that's the main thing. Down into McRae's. Belford and Stewart-Campbell are your leaders. Mason Johnson in 3rd and Holly Harris 4th.
And Stainer on the attack. He's made another position. Harris has indeed dropped back, because it's Corey Stainer who has come through. And what a ride it's been from Corey Stainer so far. And here he goes on the attack for 2nd place. He's got around the outside of Bailey Stewart-Campbell from 9th to 2nd in 1 lap. So what I was saying about Corey Stainer, knowing he's under pressure for 3rd position in the championship, he's got off to a sensational start in this race. And now he's going after the leader. He's
looking at the leader. Will he try? There's not really room here on these bigger bikes through there. Corey Stainer's going to look for it. What a race this is already. 9th to 2nd in half a lap. He's going to be 9th to 1st in 1 lap if he's not careful. Short, he's going to look on the inside now. He turns it tight. Belford leads across the line. Stainer's looking down the inside of turn 1. We said you can't pass there, and we were right, because Belford hangs on. But only just. I really thought Stainer was fully alongside there coming off Paddock Bend. Actually, 2nd place is good enough for Corey Stainer to hold on to 3rd position in the championship, to get the better of Evan Belford for 2nd overall. Things would have to change quite dramatically. He's trying to make them change as he goes on the attack against Evan Belford. Down the inside into Iredale's. Can't quite get the move done. Absolutely. Stainer is absolutely... He's throwing everything else and the kitchen sink at this one. Down to Stuart S's. They'll negotiate this safely. Through there now. Back towards the back of the circuit. Belford leads Stainer. Those who got a break on ahead of Stewart-Campbell, Johnson. And then it's Finn Smart in 5th, so let's hope Finn Smart can last the duration. He had a problem in the first race. Let's hope the repeat performance does not happen. And Holly Harris loses a position. Emmanuel Brinton down the inside comes through for 6th place. Harris offline, might try the cutback, can't get it. Thomas Gomes is next in line, finding his way through. Gomes has passed Crosby, so plenty going on further down the order as well. But up front it's Evan Belford, who sets a new fastest lap of the race to lead by less than 1/10 of a second ahead of Corey Stainer. The pair evenly matched leading the way, and Stainer looking good now to hold on to 3rd in the championship, but he needs to get the better of Evan Belford to have any hope of moving back into the 2nd place that he occupied before we got underway with today's racing. What Stainer will want to do is get ahead of Belford and then back them both back into the pack. He will want to bring as many machines, as many riders into play to get as many riders in between him and Belford. At the moment, the only other rider in play is probably Mason Johnson and Finn Smart, who are directly behind this group, as Mason Johnson sits in 4th position. Corey Stainer has hit the front, so exactly as you said, great effort from Stainer. Yep, Stainer leads. I don't know why he's done that. Must have him down at the Stuart S's. Either that or it's been a mistake from Belford, because he seems to have lost quite a bit of time. Either way, Stainer leads by a good, I'd say, half a second, if not more. It's nearly a second, so that's who proves how quick and how much pace Stainer's got. It'll be interesting to see if Belford can go with him. Like I said, though, Stainer hasn't backed him down into the pack, so maybe Stainer wants to do his own thing. Well, he can't risk losing the lead whilst trying to slow other riders down. I think, quite honestly, just taking the checkered flag and securing the 3rd position in the championship, I think, would be highly satisfactory. But if Bailey Stewart-Campbell and other riders start to get in the mix with Evan Belford, that could change the complexion of the top 3 in the championship. Excellent stuff going on. Remember, it is all in the race for 2nd and 3rd in the series overall, behind the outright champion.
But Corey Stainer riding like a champion in this one. He is away and gone.
Yeah, he's showing them what he could have done in this first race. He's flying off. Mason Johnson looking down the inside there. Couldn't get it done. Stuart Campbell holds on. And Finn Smart still at the back of this group here. But Stainer is off and running with this one. And we've got 8 laps to go.
Much better effort this time from Finn Smart, who of course had all those problems and dramas first time out and just worked his way round towards a finish. Holly Harris just having a challenge here with the group right on the tail, and it's Thomas Gomes who's actually dropped a position. So Thomas Gomes has dropped 1 back. So Holly Harris holds 7th still, but it's James Cook who has overhauled Thomas Gomes.
Corey Stainer was the fastest rider, unsurprisingly, on the last lap, 1.4 seconds quicker. There is no doubt about this. If he keeps it all upright, surely that'll be victory for him.
Thomas Gomes looking likely to drop another position here. Sean Abel goes all the way around the outside and gets the move done. So Thomas Gomes has dropped down to 10th position. He was really working the throttle coming off the turn. I wonder whether he may have a mechanical...
Down has gone Finn Smart. Sorry to come in on you there. Finn Smart lost the front down to the Sunny Bend.
So Finn Smart, who occupied 5th position, has gone down. The rest of this group that I was talking about from 7th position down will recover 6th place, as Sean Abel also making his way through. Well, it's changing quite dramatically on the fringes of the top 10. Holly Harris comes through.
Yeah, Sean Abel, I think, had to give that place back because he went up the inside of James Cook down into, or Thomas Gomes it might have been, into the yellow flags.
Yeah, so you're quite right.
Yeah, sensible riding there, knew he made a mistake. Unlucky for Finn Smart though, he's just pushing a bit too hard, made him to stay with that leading quartet ahead.
Such was Sean Abel's pace though to move into the top 10. It may not be long before he continues to make that overtaking. Anyway, here he goes again around the outside into Iredale's, all the way around the outside. That's an astonishing move, and he is now up another position, so up to P7. Sean Abel.
Sorry, he's coming again. That's Mason Johnson making a move on Bailey Stuart Campbell at the inside. It's so tight through there. Brilliant stuff from Mason Johnson. No doubt about that. He was committed there. Back in the same corner. Nope, no movement there.
Corey Stainer leading now by 4.4 seconds ahead of Evan Belford, and Mason Johnson in 3rd, getting the better of Bailey Stuart Campbell. Aside from that race for 3rd and 4th, things starting to settle down, but look at that group further back. A group of 4 riders: Holly Harris, Thomas Gomes, Sean Abel, James Cook, all within a second of one another, and it's Gomes who's on the march. A new personal best on lap number 6.
Absolutely. Corey Stainer just coming around the top of the circuit, flat out through here, down into St John's. Look at the lead he's got. It's a very commanding lead. Mason Johnson in turn has also broken clear of Bailey Stuart Campbell. Will he set off after Evan Belford? That would do Corey Stainer's chance of second in the championship a load of good.
Thomas Gomes seems to be struggling for straight line pace further down the order, and each time they go up the 2 main straights here at Rowrah, he seems to lose a little bit of pace. But here it comes down the inside to make the move on Holly Harris, and Gomes comes through for 6th position. Harris has no answer in the attempt to respond, so Gomes takes 6th. Harris now dropping into the path of Sean Abel. Sean Abel's actually dropped back behind James Cook again, so Cook is the next rider to try and pass Harris, and Cook does get alongside Harris down into turn 1, but backs out of it at the last moment.
Yeah, really close up into turn 1. We've seen a few people go side by side, but then back out of it at the last moment. It is a difficult corner because obviously you're flicking left after that, so you actually position yourself wrongly trying to get through on the inside there. Corey Stainer coming up to lap Finn Smart now. Hopefully it all goes well. He's not good at now. He's been held up a little bit. Won't mean too much to him. He's on the power, passes him easily.
Watching the battle further down the order at the moment, Sean Abel and James Cook swapping positions once again. Cook responds around the outside into the S's and takes the place back. So it's Gomes in 6th, Harris in 7th, Cook and Abel behind.
Mason Johnson is flying. He's well quicker, 0.8 of a second quicker than Belford. So watch out for the green bike. Mason Johnson on 8.08. He is much faster than Evan Belford ahead of him.
James Cook has made the pass on Holly Harris. Harris trying to come back around the outside. Cook moves to block well. Sean Abel's directly behind the pair of them. So there's a race going on, as Kiko said, for 2nd and 3rd, Belford versus Johnson. But it's Cook who's got the better of Holly Harris. And Harris now dropping into the path of Sean Abel. A 3-rider fight for 7th, 8th and 9th.
Yeah, we've got a battle going on here down the field into Sunny Bend. They go. Is that Elliot Crosby? Is it really a battle for 10th place maybe?
Yeah,
Not
it's
sure.
well, the battle for 10th position is Dylan Mellor moving into the top 10, and Mellor's just flashed past our commentary position. Corey Stainer just behind that group of riders, about to put a lap on them, but it's second place that you were talking about. Evan Belford versus Mason Johnson, second and third positions. They're next over the line, and Bailey Stewart Campbell just putting a lap as well, so they're making their way through. Campbell in fourth position. The race is for second and third, and the race further down the order from seventh position back seems to have settled down now.
3 laps to go. 0.8 of a second is the gap between Belford and Johnson. Belford responded that time around. It will be interesting to see whether Mason Johnson keeps on pushing for that second place. It's only another position, of course, although it could mean everything if he backs it up enough, or if they do something silly. Corey Stainer will be the first to capitalise on that second place in the championship.
As things stand then, Corey Stainer, by taking this checkered flag, will ensure that he finishes above Bailey Stewart Campbell in the series standings and takes third overall. He's got to be careful picking his way through lap traffic here, because they are involved in their own battles, and he doesn't want to end up off the racing line and on some of the wet patches. But he's made his way past one and should make his way past two, and does so on the home straight, and that gives him a little bit more breathing room. The race continuing though for second.
Penultimate lap, Belford and Johnson are tied together now. Belford had a long look over his shoulder coming onto the straight. He knows that Johnson is there. He'll be able to hear it now. Coming down into McRae's, Johnson's not close enough for a move. Very defensive rider from Belford. There's a chance at Iredale, but I'm not sure Johnson's close enough. He seems really quick to the back part of the section of the circuit, at St John's, and then into Sunny Bend.
Mason Johnson half a second quicker last lap around than Evan Belford. Despite Belford setting a new personal best, he knows he's got to respond. Those are the second and third position riders at the moment. Sean Abel still close to the back of Holly Harris further down the order for 8th and 9th positions, but no changes yet. And as I said, that fight from 6th down to 9th seems to have settled itself, leaving us to focus on second and third positions. Evan Belford versus Mason Johnson, and Belford's got caught up behind one of the lap runners at just the wrong moment. He's going to go for the outside into Paddock Bend. He's made it through, and so has Mason Johnson. A bold move from Johnson to get past that lapped runner and keep open his fight as they come into the final lap.
Yeah, 1 lap to go. I can feel a desperate move coming on here. That was backmarker City. They really couldn't. They could have done without their mobile chicanes there. But down into McRae's. Johnson's really close. Is he on the inside? Not this time. He had a look, thought about it, didn't quite get it done. They've got a chance at Iredale's. This is the battle on circuit as well for second and third. Corey Stainer is well off. He's walked off with this one. They come through now. They're going to be charging down towards the Stuart S's very soon. There is a chance there. Then there's at the back of the circuit. Corey Stainer's already at that part of the track. Mason Johnson will be watching so closely. He'll be lining himself up now. He'll be building through here. This is where he's looked good all race. He will be looking to try and get up the inside. He's not quite close enough. Belford holds on. Will he be quick through here? He is quick. Will he look? No, he doesn't quite get it done. There's only one chance left. It's down into Paddock Bend. Corey Stainer, meanwhile, comes across the line. He takes the win. What a way to sign off the year. Johnson is closing and closing. He looks on the inside. He's not going to get it. Belford and Johnson second and third in that order.
And that means that with a race victory for Corey Stainer and Evan Belford directly behind him, Belford secures second position in the championship standings, and Corey Stainer will finish the season in third overall, ahead of Bailey Stewart Campbell, who just couldn't quite break into the top 3 in that race. And of course, Stewart Campbell needed to make up 10 points on Corey Stainer. Further down the order, Holly Harris continuing the fight for 8th position and holding on. There were just a 10th of a second between them last lap around, and it'll be a 10th of a second again over the line at the end of the 12-lap race distance. Good ride there from Holly Harris, who had dropped through the field this time around, finished 4th first time out, remember. This time around finished in 8th, but held on from Sean Abel.
What a race that was. Brilliant stuff. Got entertaining towards the end, but Belford hung on another lap maybe, and Johnson would have had a look. He just never quite got close enough at any point out that last lap. But what a ride. Corey Stainer, 6.2 seconds ahead of everyone else. Phenomenal.
This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the official partner series to the BSB. original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Race number 2 in the Mini GP 70s. It's Harvey Claridge who has sealed the deal in terms of the championship fight, 362.5 points after victory in race number 1. But we really have a grandstand finish in the Mini GP 70s in the fight for the championship podium. Brodie Crockford, Jay Abel and Louis Rendell separated by just 13 points, and with extra points up for grabs, remember, in this final race of the season, 1.5 times the normal points available. That means that Crockford, Abel and Rendell have real opportunities to swap around in terms of positions. Crockford on his installation lap, just bouncing over the curb there, almost coming off the back of the bike. Crockford will be lining up in P5. The front row of the grid, Jay Abel, third in the series standings on 311, has 8 points to make up on Crockford, lines up 2 rows in front of him directly ahead. Alongside him, P2, Harvey Claridge, the champion and winner of race number 1. Second row of the grid, Louis Rendell, fourth in the series standings, 306 points, 5 to make up on Jay Abel, 13 to make up on Brodie Crockford. Owen Mellor lines up in P4, fourth position, first time out. He's the spoiler. Third row of the grid, Brodie Crockford, who sits second in the championship on 319, only 8 points up on Jay Abel, lines up alongside Callum Beach, who finished 5th place first time out. Crockford finished behind Rendell in race number 1. Crockford finishing 3rd, Rendell taking 2nd. If things finish like that again with another drama for Jay Abel, that could mean that Abel misses out on the championship podium altogether. Plenty of permutations as we get underway with race number 2 in the Mini GP 70s. Better start this time from Jay Abel, but not good enough to take the lead. It's Claridge who picks it up. Abel into 2nd position. Unable to make any progress off the line. Brodie Crockford is stuck down the order, still in 5th place. The pack all filtering successfully through, but it's Harvey Claridge showing why he's become champion in 2017, leading the way once again.
Owen Mellor got a terrible start off the line. He went backwards. I think he's at the back of the pack. Callum Beach has got ahead of him. Through at Iredale's now and charging down towards Stewart's, and at the moment I think it's all the same.
Side by side then for 2nd position behind Harvey Claridge, the current race leader. Jay Abel not having it all his own way. He'll want to hold on to this 2nd position if he can, which would also mean the result he needs to secure a place on the championship podium. With 3 riders in the mix, remember, Crockford, Rendell and Abel are the riders in contention for the championship podium.
Absolutely, and it's a good 2.3 seconds between Claridge and Jay Abel. Louis Rendell is right in behind him. Callum Beach is up to 4th. Brodie Crockford back to 5th. Owen Mellor, like I've already said, just a little bit off the pace. Don't know if that's a machine problem.
The championship standings are going to get unbelievably tight here, because the rider who's leading that group of 3 in the points is at the back of the group of 3 on the track. That's Brodie Crockford, who sits down in P5. As you mentioned, Callum Beach coming through well, and he sits in 4th position behind Harvey Claridge, Jay Abel and Louis Rendell. Good returns from Jay Abel and Louis Rendell in prospect, and with extra points available in this final race, that really is going to favour Jay Abel, who's back in amongst the top performers here.
You've got to admire Harvey Claridge. He doesn't have to be doing none of this. He's well out ahead, and he looks so confident and comfortable on the machine there. Through Paddock Bend he comes, powering it down the straight. What lap time are we seeing? A 54.4. Well, that's just remarkable stuff, really. That is a second.
Shows how much it's dried out.
1.1 seconds quicker. This track is just going to get faster and faster as the race goes on. The battle for 2nd, though, with 4 bikes, as you've said, absolutely rife with action.
And Callum Beach has got past Jay Abel, so Abel dropping down to 4th position, and suddenly the tables turn again, and it's now looking like Louis Rendell who could move into a championship podium position. Each of the position changes on track is having a live impact on the championship standings. Remember, these riders are all fighting after 2nd and 3rd position in the series standings, the last available places on the championship podium. At the moment, Louis Rendell, the rider who was set to miss out, who sits 4th in the championship, sits 2nd on track, which would be enough, with Callum Beach between him and his 2 main rivals, Jay Abel and Brodie Crockford, to take a place in the top 3 overall.
Really impressed with Callum Beach. I think he was 4th in the first race. Oh, sorry, he's 5th, because Owen Mellor caught him at the end, as we looked at it earlier. But definitely, he has found something. He looks really good in the corners, carries a lot of speed. He's able to flick the machine from side to side really, really quickly, and that's why he's sitting in 3rd. He's actually pulled away from Jay Abel by about 1.1 seconds, a second or so, I'd say.
You did say that the times would get faster as this race went on. All of the riders set a new personal best on lap number 3. We've got 6 riders running out on the circuit, and it's Harvey Claridge who leads them quite comfortably. 4 seconds up here ahead of Callum Beach in 3rd position and Jay Abel in 4th. It's Abel dropping back, as you said, into the path of Brodie Crockford. And Crockford, who sits 2nd in the championship, could do with getting the better of Jay Abel, his main rival in the points overall.
Absolutely. The one thing they've got to be careful of is, though, while the track is drying, they've got to be careful not to take liberties with the curbs, because they will not have dried out. Not all of the track will be dry either, so running wide might still be costly. It looks very dry, though, directly ahead of us at turns at the Sunny Bend and at St John's, the one before. So lots of room for a bit of a push and a bit of a shove going down into there.
New fastest lap of the race from Louis Rendell, so the gap comes back down to below 4 seconds. So now that Louis Rendell's got a bit of clear air, having got the better of Jay Abel, he's the pace setter from 2nd position. He needs all the points he can get. He's the rider pursuing the other 2 in the standings overall. So Louis Rendell in a good position here, but he could do with closing down Harvey Claridge more. He gained 0.4 of a second last lap around.
Absolutely. Claridge looks like he may have just built that lead up so he can just sit around and defend it if he has to. Can't see him coming under pressure. Callum Beach ain't done with yet, though. Louis Rendell may have been the fastest rider across the line last time around, and in the 53.8. But yeah, there we go. Callum Beach, 53.5. He's much quicker, but 0.3 of a second quicker than Rendell. This could be a real shock, really.
The riders testing the limits now, because they haven't seen the track in these conditions all weekend. We've been wet all weekend. You said, would we get any dry running? We've effectively got dry running now, and that's why they're getting quicker and quicker as they work out how far they can push things to improve their lap times here in Rowrah. Claridge leading Rendell, leading Beach, but only half a second between Rendell and Beach last lap around. So Claridge emerges out from the S's, but the race is for 2nd and 3rd.
It really is, and Beach is going to be really close. He may even set a move up. It doesn't look like he's quite close enough. No, he's not. He will look, though, down into McRae's and up into Iredale's. They are the 2 overtaking hotspots on this track. He may even try and get a run out of Paddock Bend. I very much doubt it, though. Claridge across the line, a 54 flat. Rendell across the line, 53.4, and a 53.2 for Beach. They are way quicker than Harvey Claridge. In fact, Callum Beach is 0.8 of a second quicker than Harvey Claridge, and with 8 laps to go, that is by no means a comfortable gap for Harvey Claridge at this rate.
And remember, in the context of the series overall, Jay Abel and Brodie Crockford fighting further down the order over 4th and 5th, and those points could be absolutely crucial in determining our championship podium. Rendell versus Beach for 2nd and 3rd, both of them as they fight over that 2nd place, closing in on Harvey Claridge. They've already made up 1.2 seconds. Whether they've made up more on this lap remains to be seen. Visually, it doesn't look like they've made a huge impact on the lead, but they've closed in, and if they keep going, as you said, 8 laps to go, well, 7 at the end of this one, they still have an opportunity to make the pass.
Absolutely, they really have reeled him in. I'm going for about 2.4 when they cross the line. Here we go. 1.9, so they've absolutely slashed the gap, really. Unbelievable. So Claridge is sitting very precariously up in the lead. Has he found his limit as the track goes and comes into a development stage now? Are other riders willing to push on? Claridge has nothing to lose. He is the champion, but the 2 behind will want to sign off this year as race winners.
Jay Abel versus Brodie Crockford, 4th and 5th positions, both of them setting new personal bests on the previous lap. Brodie Crockford attempting to gain in ground, lost earlier in the race on Jay Abel. The advantage of the pole position hasn't really worked out this weekend for Jay Abel, as he was unable to register a top finish last time out, finish at the back of the pack in the end in 6th place, and this time around sits in P4 and under some severe pressure now from Brodie Crockford.
I tell you what, talking of pressure, Claridge is under pressure. Is this going to be a 1.4 roughly, I'd say? 1.2. So Louis Rendell and Callum Beach are closing. It's 1.9 to Beach, so he has closed a bit, but he's tailed off at the same time as Rendell. 6 laps to go. How important will that 0.7 of a second gap extra from Callum Beach up to Claridge be? They're roughly, I'd say, the same. The top 3 are in a class of their own. It's just a shame that Jay Abel isn't able to stay up with the leaders, and Brodie Crockford likewise.
Brodie Crockford less than 0.2 of a second though now back from Jay Abel, and could do with finding a way through. He's only got an 8-point lead over Jay Abel to defend. Abel is a position ahead of him, of course, so as things stand, Jay Abel would secure 19.5 points for 4th position. Brodie Crockford would secure 16.5. Crockford would hold on to his place, but remember, Louis Rendell is chasing down Harvey Claridge up front as well.
The good thing for Louis Rendell is that he will know that he is close, and there's no better feeling for a rider than knowing you are just getting closer and closer. 0.2 of a second close down that lap with that time round. If he does that every lap, he's going to be very, very close come the end of the race. We've got 5 laps to go. There is enough time, but I think you could do with a big chunk of time being taken soon. Louis Rendell fastest lap as well, 53.1 compared to Harvey Claridge's 53.3. Interestingly, Callum Beach was also in the 53s, but he was a 53.4 and the slowest of the leading three last time around.
Things looking very, very close indeed in terms of those championship points as well. We'll give you a cumulative idea with 4 laps remaining, but at the moment, as you said, out on track, it's Louis Rendell closing in on Harvey Claridge.
It is indeed. Claridge holds on for now though. Coming out of Paddock Bend, look at this, it's going to be a 0.7, is it? 0.8, so I'm still not getting my gaps right. I keep predicting every time they come around and I'm still wrong, but never mind. Claridge leads Rendell. Callum Beach has kind of stayed where he is really. He's 1.8 back, although he looks like he's closed. They've all closed right up again. Maybe it's at different parts of the track like we said earlier. Back in 4th, Jay Abel is still ahead of Brodie Crockford, and back at the back of the pack, Owen Mellor's having a very lonely but sensible ride in 6th. He's not getting in none of that shenanigans at the top of this field.
Well, just as I said, with 4 laps remaining, a bit of a recap on the live championship points. If things stay as they are, the 2nd place in the series standings will be determined by half a point. Brodie Crockford sits in the position he needs, P5, but if Louis Rendell passes Harvey Claridge, it'll be Rendell who will gain. At the moment, it's Jay Abel who is set to potentially miss out on a place in the top 3 altogether. Crockford going after again Jay Abel as Callum Beach up front closes further on the leaders.
Yeah, and this is a problem for both Louis Rendell and Brodie Crockford. They both know they have to make a pass really to secure 2nd. That puts pressure on them. Maybe they don't know that. Maybe they're just looking to get past the riders ahead of them, but they both have implications, whatever way you look at it, whatever pass either of them make.
As things stand then, Louis Rendell would pick up 30 race points for 2nd position to move on to 336. Brodie Crockford would pick up 16.5 to move on to 336.5. So if Rendell passes Claridge, Crockford's got work to do. Jay Abel looking set in 4th position to miss out, sets a new personal best on the previous lap, attempting to hold off Crockford, but it could all be in vain because at the moment Jay Abel with 4th position in the race will miss out on the top 3 in the championship.
Callum Beach was really fast into Paddock Bend then. He's closed right in. This is another fastest lap. Yes, it is a 52.7. There is 0.8 of a second covering the lead in 3. 2 laps to go. This one's shaping up to be an absolute belter. What a way to round out this year.
Half a second, the gap, little more than half a second. Harvey Claridge to Louis Rendell, but at the moment it looks as though 2nd and 3rd are going to be the more likely sites of potential position changes, and while those two are fighting against one another, that's giving a little bit of breathing room to Harvey Claridge, who picked up the pace last lap around with a new personal best of 53.3.
They're at the Stuart S's. They've got this back straight really to build on through here. Claridge he's got a couple of bike lengths. It's not enough though, I wouldn't say. Louis Rendell can smell victory now. He's going to be building and building. He's in a perfect situation. He's got enough room to really charge at Claridge and make a move. He doesn't have to be stuck behind him trying not to trip over him. We've got 1 lap to go. What's the lap times? They come across the line now. 53 flat, 52.8. Very slow lap from Callum Beach, 53.5. I'd say Callum Beach is settled for 3rd. It's all down to 1st and 2nd now. Who's it going to be, Claridge or Rendell?
Final lap then, Harvey Claridge versus Louis Rendell on track, but Claridge, remember, has already sewn up the title. It's a question of whether Louis Rendell can get the better of Claridge and take 2nd position in the championship standings. We're getting a grandstand finish to the Mini GP70s as Crockford thinks about a move further down the order on Jay Abel. Crockford could inflict even greater damage if he can find a way through into 4th place. At the moment, it's Crockford who will stand to hold on to 2nd place in the overalls, whereas Rendell will finish in 3rd. Jay Abel will miss out on a top 3 place all together. They come through the chicane once again. It's the final time for the Mini GP70 riders. It doesn't look as though Rendell or Beach are close enough to make any position changes, and your top three in race number 2 in the Mini GP70s will be Claridge, Rendell and Beach, and Louis Rendell holds on to second position. Crockford is also going after Jay Abel. He's going to go for a lunge, last bend lunge, makes it through, stands up Jay Abel, and that was an extremely forceful move. What Crockford doesn't know is that with Louis Rendell unable to get past Harvey Claridge, he had enough points for second overall anyway, and he took massive risks on the last turn trying to get the better of Jay Abel. So it's Jay Abel who misses out on the championship podium. Brodie Crockford, a great last bend pass to take 4th position and to take second overall, ahead of Louis Rendell, who will take 3rd in the championship thanks to that second place finish in the final race of the campaign.
Callum Beach is going to be so annoyed. His fastest lap, the fastest lap on the last lap. He was a second away, another lap maybe, but what a race. Claridge, Rendell and Beach, but what about that pass? Crockford did not care regardless what Abel was doing, just parked it down the inside, put him up nearly on the grass, gassed it out. That was a quality move, a proper block pass.
Well, he was fortunate because he came from so far back that when he did actually make the turn, he was completely in Jay Abel's way. There was no way Abel could get a cutback without stopping, which is exactly what happened in the end, and that's what decided that position change. Fantastic racing in race number 2 of the Mini GP70s.
Seen worse things on Crime Watch, but I don't think it'll get that far.
The original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Just a quick friendly reminder to all you that we are at a karting venue and therefore there are some karts available. After, and this is weather pending, if it is dry enough, there will be karts after this mini bike has finished. It's £12.50 for adults and £10 for kids. It's a 10-minute session and it's at the Let's Go Karting building, which is over there, I believe, where the bikes are leaving. So that's where that's at. That's £12.50 for adults, £10 for kids. Alright, so enjoy yourselves there, have a nice bit of four-wheeled action to round off your season.
This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the official partner series to the BSB.
And it's the final race of the season here in Rowrah. The 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship comes to a conclusion. And to see us over the finish line, it's the Junior LC40 category, one of the best attended classes here this weekend. 16 rider grid, of course. for the final race of the campaign. Now, first time out, it was Evan Belford who took victory from pole position, with Ollie Walker keeping it close up front. He lines up once again alongside Evan Belford, so that's your front row. The championship, well, that's looking settled, so it should be just for pride and just for glory in race number 2 in the Junior LC40s.
Been a brilliant year. What a way to sign it all off. This is one of the best classes, one of the most action-packed classes all year. It's been great to watch. Who are we going to see here? Who is going to make their name go on the last trophy to be given out here today? What an atmosphere, even where we are.
Lights out. And it is the pole sitter who gets away first. Evan Belford with a good start there. Belford picks it up then, making their way through the chicane. No incidents, of course, since the track has begun to dry out. Things have become a little bit more straightforward for these riders. And it's Evan Belford who leads the way.
Absolutely, Belford leads. And in second, is that Ollie Walker? Yes, it is. And in third place, Taylor Lawrence. Now, Taylor Lawrence tailored off at the back of this field early on in the race. Yes, earlier this morning. I'll get there in a moment when I got my dentures sorted. But Taylor Lawrence, will he be able to stay the pace? I hope so. Second, though, Ollie Walker. He's already looking a menace to Evan Belford. Them three have broken away. And
Ross Maguire has moved back up through the field as well. So Maguire making progress, is back up into P4. So from 6th position on the grid and up into 4th place. We'll see if Maguire can make any further progress from there. At the end of lap number 1 then, it's Belford in first, Ollie Walker in second, Taylor Lawrence in third. Apologies, that was Declan Connell in third. So Maguire it is who's ended up all the way down the order as far as 8th position. So a little bit of confusion between the two of those riders, but you're quite right, it's Declan Connell up in 4th.
Great start from Josh Bannister. He's made a position up from his grid start. He's up to 6th place, but the front three remain the same. Evan Belford, a 58.8. last time around.
As they go practically 3 abreast coming off Iredale's, Lawrence looked for a move, couldn't quite get it done. I think Walker's got alongside Belford for top spot, but ends up backing out of it into the S's, and Belford holds on. But all 3 of them are attempting to swap and change positions.
Absolutely, Belford. Oh, and here comes Taylor Lawrence. Not this time, thinks better of it. Ollie Walker, these 3 are absolutely at it. Ollie Walker is under pressure, but he's also wanting to attack, so it's a difficult situation for him. Lawrence looks on the inside into Paddock Bend for another time. They're going to come across the line now. It's going to be 8 laps to go. Belford, Walker and Lawrence are your 3 at the moment.
New fastest lap of the race from Ollie Walker, less than a 1/10 of a second, the gap between the top 2 as they came over the line, and Lawrence has gone with them. 0.2 of a second separating the top 3. Looking to the outside line, Ollie Walker. That gives the inside run to Lawrence, but he can't get it done. It also gives the momentum to Walker as they come down the straight and into Iredale's, and Belford knows he's got 2 tigers on his tail here. He can't hold on there coming off Iredale's. Walker's down the inside of him, up to the far end of the circuit, drag race down to the top turn, and Belford loses the lead. Walker comes through to hit the front.
Walker was late on the brakes there. It's a characteristic of his. He's been like it all year. Seen him back at Tattersall. That's when I first noticed how clever he was, but on the inside it's a huge lunge, not this time. Walker holds on, second for Belford. He wants to get through, and Lawrence is, yeah, he's there or thereabouts. Lawrence not making inroads, but he's not dropping off either.
Great fight for 5th, 6th and 7th places as well, just ahead of Ross Maguire, who sits in P8. Walker leading it. New fastest lap of the race for Ollie Walker, who has also built a 0.2 of a second advantage over Evan Belford, dropping to second. Lawrence has dropped back from the pair of them, so the race now looks to be for 5th, 6th and 7th positions. Ryan Hitchcock at the front of that group, but only just ahead of Bailey Stewart Campbell.
Yeah, Lawrence has dropped off a little bit.
One of them's come off onto the grass. I think that was a mechanical. One of the 4 riders in that group, and slams his fist down in frustration.
Is it?
Out of our line of sight from up here in commentary. It's just too far away at the far side of the circuit. Over 1 kilometre in length, this track, of course.
Yeah, not sure who that is. Meanwhile, back at the front, Ollie Walker looking very, very cool, calm and collected through Sunny Bend. No mistakes at that corner in this race for any one of them. He's broken clear a little bit, really, of Evan Belford. Taylor Lawrence is all very spaced out through this field. Josh Bannister there getting a bit wriggly as he goes up towards Paddock Bend across the line. 56.2 for Ollie Walker. That's an incredible lap time.
They're making their way through to complete lap number 4. I think Bailey Stewart Campbell was that rider slamming his fist down in frustration as he got out of shape or possibly had a mechanical over at McRae's. and he will drop out of the running, or certainly drop out of the top 10. He does seem to be back up and running in the race now, or is he? No, it doesn't look as though he is actually looking over at the far side of the circuit. Yeah,
I think he's parked up. He's had enough for this year. He will come back stronger next year. Nothing will deter him away. He's had an all right year as Bailey Stewart Campbell. He's been very well all season. Meanwhile, Ollie Walker still looking commanding at the front. He does not look like he's phased by anything. Looking cool. 5 and a little bit laps left to go here. Taylor Lawrence has dropped off now at the back of this field, at the back of this group. He's 3rd and 4th. Declan Connell he's really spaced out, but nonetheless, is he going to remain the same? We could see a late charge in the race like we've just seen in the GP70s.
Just a word about Bailey Stewart Campbell. You said he'd had a good season. He was confirmed as unable to make it onto the podium for the championship before we got underway with this race, so his retirement doesn't mean anything in terms of the series points, other than Declan Connell being theoretically able to overhaul him for 4th. More realistically, Bailey Stewart Campbell should finish in 4th in the 2017 campaign, but it is a tough way to finish the season, failing to finish your final race. No such problems up front for Ollie Walker, who looks set to crown an interesting season and an excellent weekend with a race victory.
I don't think Evan Belford's done just yet. Evan looks really quick through this final section. Who's it going to be? I wonder if these two start scrapping it out at the top. It may even be Taylor Lawrence who picks up the scraps.
Lawrence at the moment dropping about half a second a lap away from those top two. New personal best for Evan Belford. You're right, he's not done just yet, and neither is Declan Connell. I noticed that on that lap he gained visibly on Taylor Lawrence. He may be able to make his way up into a position on the podium here today, and the rest of the pack filtering through in the same order, but watch for Emmanuel Brinton and Ross Maguire. Maguire's made his way up into 7th position, but actually looking at the track, it looks as though Brinton has ended up getting back past.
Yeah, it's interesting there. Evan Belford did set a personal best lap on the last lap, but it wasn't as quick as Ollie Walker's last lap, so he was actually just fractionally slower. And I think that there's been a mistake on this lap, because that gap has gone right up. Ollie Walker is starting to just break clear.
Belford. Yeah, you're right. Belford does seem to have dropped a little bit further back, but it's oscillating, I think, yo-yoing between the two of them as to who is able to make up a bit of ground. Walker, Belford, Lawrence still in that order. Let's see if Declan Connell makes another half a second from 4th position. He's closed right up onto the back now of Taylor Lawrence, and I said that progressively over the last 2 laps Connell's been upping the pace, and confirmed now across the timing screens that pass from Emmanuel Brinton that I talked about on the last lap, getting the better of Ross Maguire.
Absolutely. Ollie Walker 1.6 seconds clear at the moment. It's gone up 0.7 of a second. It takes one mistake though, lose your momentum on these bikes and you pay for it big time. So they're coming out the Stewart S's now, down through this really fast, exciting part of the circuit, into St John's Corner. Ollie Walker's got past the back marker. Has Evan Belford? No, he hasn't. He's got to get through yet though. Through he goes. Taylor Lawrence is next up. Belford goes round the outside of the back marker. That's going to be close. No, gets it all done very neat and tidy. We've got across the line comes Walker. 2 laps to go. 56.7 plays 57.6. It's Ollie Walker's to lose. Surely he's got this one wrapped up.
Declan Connell continuing to gain 0.3 of a second, closed in on Taylor Lawrence on lap number 8. Josh Bannister's picked off Ryan Hitchcock for 5th position, and Hitchcock has dropped back, so I'm not sure what's happened there, but there's a group of 3 riders still in the mix further down the order.
Absolutely. Josh Bannister having a great ride. 5th. He started 7th, am I right there? He started from row 4, so good stuff from Josh Bannister. He's not in the play for the top 4.
Fight for 3rd position, potential overtaking manoeuvre. Declan Connell attempting to get the better of Taylor Lawrence up at the far end of the circuit. He got down the inside. Lawrence managed to hold on through the S's. They're coming back towards our commentary position once again, but it's Connell who's on the march. He's gained in plenty of ground. The gap was 4 seconds at one stage. It's less than a second now. In fact, it's less than half a second now between 3rd and 4th positions.
He's got 1 lap to do it. We're on the last lap now. Ollie Walker starts the last lap. Belford comes across the line. Them two are not going to be discussing over to the top.
But here goes Connell looking for a pass coming off the chicane. He's very close. He's gone up to the outside. They're side by side into McRae's, but he's blocked out for the moment. Declan Connell, 0.3 of a second a lap faster than Taylor Lawrence, closing in on him. The race for third position is going to go right down to the wire, and here comes Connell again. He's gone wide into Iredale's. He's going to try the cutback. He couldn't quite get it done there. Not this time. Ollie Walker, though, meanwhile, he's combing home. He doesn't have to make any mistakes now. It's his to lose. Through the fast stuff, down to St John's. He's surely got this sorted. Belford is in second place. Lawrence has got it surely for third. He's really close though. Connell's going to look at it up the inside. Not this time. He's got one turn. Paddock bend. That is his only option. Belford's dropped back into the group. It doesn't matter. Ollie Walker gone for a dive into the bottom bend, but he can't quite get there. Lawrence holds on. Connell brings himself level. Oh! Drag race the line. Connell's got it. 1,000th of a second between the two of them over the line, and that is why you never give up in the run to the flag. Declan Connell has seized the position from Taylor Lawrence. I said that was building up quite nicely. Connell was 0.3 of a second a lap faster, closed right in. Taylor Lawrence tried to respond on the final lap with a new personal best, but Connell has pipped him in the drag race down to the line. That is an incredible finish. You couldn't have left it any later. What a way to sign off 2017. I'll just get there. Ollie Walker took the win, a well-deserved win. 3.1 seconds clear of Evan Belford. It was close though for second place. Connell only finished 0.7 behind Evan Belford. What about that for a run to the line? Tommy Hill and John Hopkins, eat your heart out. What was all that about? Declan Connell getting third position then ahead of Taylor Lawrence in the run to the line. It's Ollie Walker who takes it ahead of Evan Belford. So Belford will claim third position in the championship standings behind, of course, Ross Maguire, who finished second in the series despite finishing in 7th place in race number 2. Walker the winner in the final race of the 2017 season, the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship, round number 8 here in Rowrah. And we're now joined by Roger up here in our commentary position. I think that might be the first time that you've been able to watch a race with us a little bit. Quite close finish there as well, wasn't it?
Totally exciting, particularly with you commentating. I couldn't see what was going on, but it sounded phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Well, hopefully those listening at home on the radio agree with that assumption as well. It was good racing, but we've had a high quality of racing all season, to be fair. It's not just one race or even one category. All of the classes have delivered plenty of action. Yeah,
I've been totally amazed by the improvement. What happens is you start off with the riders that are not terribly fantastic, and as the season goes on, they just get better and better. I've just been amazed at this weekend. I was commenting to everybody, just look how these riders, they look so experienced now. Just one season and they've really got it. All you need is a really quick rider at the front and they'll all come up to that standard, and that's happened.
And we also see, there's a clear progression for these riders. They've got riders that come back into the adult classes just to show the way round, the wheelies and the Charlie Nesbitts of the world who come back and show the fast way round, show what the riders can aspire to.
Exactly. I mean, when you think Charlie Nesbitt is running in the Junior World Championship, and I think next year he's going to be doing that again. The standard, you say, we're talking international standard, not national standard. We're talking world standard, not even international standard. And that's the standard all these riders can aspire to. Not all of them will make it, but a great number will. I mean, for example, the British Talent Cup is 50% ex-FAB or Cool Fab riders. Something we've got to be proud of. We don't tend to think of it all the time, but I think that was pretty impressive. Not for us, but the fact that the riders have made that standard.
Well, there's plenty of riders that we've seen this season who will surely make a name for themselves in the future. One name springs to mind who's not taking part this weekend. That's Casey O'Gorman. 2 class wins in the championships overall, and what a super season it's been for him.
Absolutely incredible. But one thing I would say about Casey, have you noticed how towards the end of the season riders were getting closer and closer to Casey? And that's exactly what we want. We want another Casey every year in A class or several classes, so that the riders who are not as quick think, hang on a minute, it's only human, I can go that quick. And that's what we need to see year after year. And the more we get that, the more great riders we'll get. And I know we'll continue to get those great riders in the future.
And since we're talking about the future, look ahead to 2018. Have we started to put our thinking caps on for next season, or is it a little bit too early to discover any plans for next year?
Slightly too early, but I can tell you it will be bigger and it will be better. in a number of ways. We're making a few changes, not a great number of changes. We'll keep all the good bits, like I suppose we'll have to keep you, but etc. And the filming, which actually gets enormous viewings now. Incredible viewings, not only when it's live but also when it's going out on YouTube. It's being watched all over the world, particularly in America, strangely. But yeah, there'll be changes, but I'm just hoping that we'll keep the quality. That's what the quality of the races is more important than anything else. The background's great, but we do need to get that quality.
Well, there was certainly plenty of quality on show this weekend. The riders, their second visit to Rowrah in 2017, of course. And even when the championships were decided in the first and second races of the weekend, before we got to race 2 later on here today, the quality of the action was still superb.
Yeah, they don't, just the fact that the championship is decided, sometimes that makes the others try even harder. Well, I'm going to beat that guy who's won the championship, so they work even harder to try and actually beat him, and sometimes they will. And that's, again, really good because, well, he won a championship, I've just beaten him, I can win it next year, or I can win the next class up next year.
Particularly as the likelihood is the winners will then step up to the next category, making a bit of a vacancy for riders to try and step in and fulfil that.
We've ordered a lot more mini GPs. The Metric Mini GP, I think, is just the best bike you can possibly get to bring these young riders on. And we've been out to Italy, had a chat with the factory and said, we need to make this quicker, we need to have them available immediately, and we made some changes to their production system whereby in the short term, in the next 4 or 5 weeks, we'll be able to supply bikes quickly again, and from then on that will be the same situation. I see the 70 class being quite big next year. I see the 50 class staying as big or bigger than it is this year, some with new bikes, some with second-hand bikes.
We also see the rookies developing, you know, the less experienced ones gradually gaining in confidence. Wet weather conditions, dry conditions. It's been a challenging weekend, but they've stepped up well.
If they rode all right this weekend, they did pretty well. We had some fairly severe weather. That's the best description. We had some flying gazebos all over the place, and it was an interesting night. But there we go. I think today we've been quite lucky. The weather's been kind to us. It hasn't rained hardly. The track is drying now, and there hasn't been high winds.
6 different venues in 2017. Obviously, this was the final round of the season, so it's a bit of rest and relaxation now during the winter for everyone else, but perhaps not for you in terms of getting everything straightened out for 2018.
No, I've got some Grand Prix to do, and I've got another international race or 2 to do. Then I will actually have a rest. I'm going to have some holiday, and then around February we start it all over again. But I will be working towards next season almost from next week. From next week, we're already starting to plan things and change things, look at the regulations, see how we can alter it, how we can make it better. We'll always get accused of everybody's cheating, but that's one of those things in life. I've done it for 15 years, and I've heard it for 15 years, and actually half the time it's just the fact that the cheating bit is that rider on top of the bike. Unfortunately, they go too fast sometimes, and we can't do a lot about that. But we'll learn to live with that.
And we're enjoying seeing them go fast, you know, because the progression through one season is incredible, so the progression through 15 years is astonishing.
Well, yeah, makes me feel very old. I didn't think I'd be doing this after 15 years, but there we are. I shall be back next year for good or bad, so there we go.
We've already ascertained that we need more spaces on these shields and trophies, of course, for the winners, because we've got to that stage where it's had great longevity. Clearly we get to the end of the season before we start to think about next year. We've got the presentations of the trophies from the 2017 campaign. Got some great winners this year. Just a word of congratulations, I suppose, to those riders for their efforts throughout this campaign.
Yeah, I mean, the support we get from riders, not only the winners, but also, well, I won't call them also-rans because they're not also-rans in my eyes. To be fair, they've supported us really well. They work hard. They come to all the championships, and that's the way they win championships, by being there consistently and learning from those who, at the time, are better. Yeah, fantastic. They've all done such a great job. All the winners, all the champions, all the riders.
I'm sure you'd like to add a couple of words of thanks to others who've participated in the championship. We'll add our thanks to you because we don't want you patting yourself on the back. But there are plenty of volunteers who've made it possible, families of the riders as well, who facilitate quite a lot of the effort from their youngsters.
I have to put up with a little bit of cheekiness from the younger marshals that we
I thought you were going to say from me.
No, well, I expect that from you. But, yeah, I mean, they're just fantastic. I mean, the families always work with us. If we need a help here or there with whatever it is, somebody's prepared to pitch in. And the sisters, particularly of riders, or the daughters of riders, have been particularly helpful, because sometimes we struggle to find enough people to do even the podium, and we have sisters of riders doing the podium for us. I've actually never seen a podium. This will be my first time, because
it's taking place over there. Right. So as soon as I let you escape, you can tick that off your bucket list.
Because I was down the timing office, finish off the results. So I'm going to watch that tonight, because we're doing them all at the end of the event this time. They're a little bit different to normal.
Yeah, this weekend has been a little bit different to normal. It was different in the sense that it was a last-minute venue change as well, coming here to Rowrah. I think a word of thanks probably to all of the venues that have hosted us this season. They do a lot to facilitate our involvement, and obviously Rowrah stepping in at the last minute. So full credit to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were very, very lucky. The fact that the person that normally runs the circuit was actually on holiday, but said, well, you've been coming here a long time, get on with it. Otherwise we would have been stuck, because we had to change the venue very, very quickly at the last minute. The marshals here are really, really good. The venue itself is excellent. The location is fantastic. Sometimes the weather's a little bit iffy, but this is Cumbria.
We do go to one or two remote venues.
Yes, we do.
Some far-flung destinations in Wales and of course Rowrah as well.
We hope very much to add Scotland next year. We're trying very hard. We're already working on that, and it's not far across the border, but it's across the border.
And how about maybe the south, where I come from? That would be a help.
And actually, where I come from, we're hoping to perhaps, well, certainly there's a couple we're talking to now. We particularly would like to go back to Lydd. Lydd was suffering from the fact it had a too small a paddock. We just got too big for them. But I think the paddock's going to get bigger. I think the facilities are going to be improved. New timing office, that's good for me. So all in all, yeah, we're looking forward to the next season. Possibly an extra circuit or two, and certainly 8 rounds, maybe 9.
Well, we look forward to the 2018 campaign, but in the meanwhile, we congratulate you and thank you for your efforts in 2017, and wish you all the best for that rest.
Thank you very much indeed, Alex. I'll let you get on with it now. And Kiko, you can take your headset back. Thank you very much, Roger. That's all right. That's all right.
Why did you park
I'll go and do the final.
So there we have it then. The final round of the 2017 campaign comes to a conclusion with Leicester providing the comic relief as well. Great to catch up with Roger there, talk about what we've got to look forward to in 2018, potentially new and returning venues. We've also got the best of 2017 back again to try and either defend or move up to the next category and improve their lot. But from us here ahead of the celebrations at the end of the final round of the campaign, the championship podium, the championship celebrations. Well, it's been thanks for joining us once again throughout the world, and we look forward to seeing you in 2018.